Welcome to the Average Fan podcast. My name's Sabri. I've decided to start a podcast throughout the World Cup and try and hopefully have a daily podcast where I can just talk about everything, all the daily events, any controversies, VAR, that sort of thing, but also talk about anything football related, really. How I'm just an average fan. I'm sure most of you guys who are watching the football as well, some of you might be really into it. Some of you might be like me. I love to watch Manchester United. I'm from Nottingham, so I love to watch Forest when they're on as well. But I'm not the sort of fan who obsesses over it. I don't know all the players. I'm sure there'll be loads of people in the England squad who haven't got a clue who they are, who I've not really seen them play previously unless they've played Man United or Forest. I wouldn't really have a clue. But I just think it's great. Football's amazing. World Cup's the best time. You get to watch all these players you've never really seen before play on the biggest platform. And it's great because even people like my partner, who's not really into football, she gets well into it. Great way to have a conversation with people that you wouldn't ordinarily expect to be into football. Love it as well, which is amazing. And you get to see all the best players from around the world playing for their team. It's just amazing. Nothing better than World Cup, really. Hopefully I'm going to have friends, family members on as well, so at least it'll be better conversation back and forth. Just speak to them about anything football related, really. Tonight, unbelievably, I had a few things I was going to talk about, things like the friendly, which was yesterday, because today is Sunday. The England friendly was on Saturday, and to be fair, it wasn't actually a bad game, really. I think it's quite nice seeing all the players gel quite well. And I was going to mostly talk about that, make sure everything's going right, make sure the cameras are working properly in that. And then just as I was about to set up, the news came through that Christian Eriksen had just suffered another attack on the pitch and had passed out, which is quite worrying to obviously see flash up on my phone as a notification. But fortunately, it looks as if he's all right. Well, I say all right. He's collapsed, and by the looks of it, his pacemaker, which was installed, was it 2020 or 2021 in the Euros? That's clearly done its job and has probably saved his life again. But it does make you question that, I don't know, at his stage in his career and his age, it's got to make you wonder if, I guess that's his career ended now, because it's just, the whole game was abandoned after that. I think they were about 65 minutes in, and that's it. Then the game stopped. Fortunately, it was just a friendly, but it's pretty shocking, isn't it, to think that you're playing 1 minute and next thing you know, you've collapsed on the pitch again. And they said from the news report that he'd actually collapsed for, I think, 5-10 seconds before he'd come back again, and his pacemaker had kicked in. But that's pretty shocking, isn't it, really? It's pretty scary to think that, thank God he's got his pacemaker, but that could have been him gone on the pitch in front of all those people. And surely at that point, you just think, I've had my innings, that's it, just hang up my boots and just try and make sure you're not exerting yourself too much, because, God, the amount of stress and pressure they must go through as a footballer to perform at such a high level, particularly someone like Christian Eriksen, he's amazing. Obviously played for United for a few seasons, and he's just fantastic. Even after he'd had the pacemaker installed, it's just amazing to see how well he performed. And you thought, what a Superman, really, to be still performing at that level, even though he'd had that horrific thing happen to him back in, I think, was it the Euro 21, I think, wasn't it, when it was in England a few years ago anyway. But you think, God, that's pretty shocking, isn't it, to think you've gone through all that and then you still had an amazing career after that, playing for United and playing really well. But then to have it now happen a second time is just, you've got to think that's got to be it now then. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with that. Some of the other things I was going to talk about as well is, I'm sure anyone who's watching this, I'm sure no one is, but it's been interesting to see how the United States in particular have treated this World Cup. Because obviously every time you expect to be paying money to attend the World Cup, it's not like you're going for free, but it's never felt like it's been unobtainable to just the average fan. And obviously that's what I reckon I am. I'd like to think that I'd have the opportunity to be able to attend a football match. And in previous years, whenever I've priced it up, it's been expensive, but it's been achievable. It's not the sort of thing I would have had to sell a kidney or remortgage my house to be able to afford. But this time round, there's tickets that are going for like £3,000 minimum for a really poor seat. And some of the tickets on the resale market have been going for £2 million. I'm sure it's just a joke price. No one would actually pay that amount of money. But just to see a figure that's, £3,000 for one seat, and that's just for the ticket, and that's just for one person, just seems insane. Like, who on earth is actually paying that amount of money? I'd love to speak to anyone who's actually paying that amount of money. Some of the early tickets went for hundreds of pounds, but some of the resale tickets and some of the tickets are being added on down the line are going for like £3,000. And that's before you've added in things like your flights. It's before you've added in things like your hotel costs. And then you've got to still spend money to mill around throughout the day, food, drink. And if you're going to travel all that distance, surely you're not going for just a couple of nights and flying back again. To fly to America from the UK is a minimum, 8-9 hours of flights. And it just depends on what location in America you're going to as well. It could be even more. So surely you're going for 5-6 days, but all the hotel costs and all the extra costs within that as well. You're talking thousands of pounds just for one person to go. Seems insane. And if there's a couple of you, or if you're taking your kids, there's no concession price for kids. It's still the same price. So all that for one game, and you might have the worst seats as it's not even like it's a once in a lifetime opportunity and you've got the best seats ever. You'd probably have nosebleed type seats right back. And you think, well, what's the point really? All that money spent, would it not be better just to go out there, not go to the game, not have a ticket for the game, maybe go to one of the fan zones or something like that instead? But even those have started suggesting they're going to be charging astronomical fees for the fan zones as well. And then you've still got to get around, and even the transport in America, they've said that it's going to cost $150 to get to and from some of the stadiums. So if the fan zones are anywhere near the stadiums, you've got to think, well, surely that's going to cost $150 to get to the stadium and back, plus the cost of all the flights, etc., on top of it to get to America, all the hotel costs and whatever else as well. So before you know it, you've still spent thousands of pounds just to be part and parcel of the atmosphere, which is insane. Again, you're not even got a ticket, you're still spending thousands of pounds. So then you think, well, how feasible is it for just an average fan to go over there and enjoy the atmosphere? I've never been to any of the World Cups or the Euros myself in the past, but I have definitely been around areas where you've felt the experience and the atmosphere of everything that's going on. It came here back in '96, Euro '96. Turkey had the Forest Ground as their home ground for some of their games, and it was just amazing. It was electric. All the atmosphere, they had all banners and signs everywhere around Nottingham, and it was just amazing to witness as a child. And then obviously we had the Euros back in 2021, and it was just amazing again to be part of that as an adult and around it all, and everyone was so excited. So it would be amazing to be somewhere like America if you wanted to go and just be part of it. But you almost feel like the average fan is surely being priced out of that. And even for a hardcore fan who there's no choice in the matter, you go in, that's a lot of money to be spending just to be part of the atmosphere without even getting a ticket. So it does make you think, is this going to ruin the World Cup? I don't mean ruin the World Cup, but it's surely going to take away from it, the actual atmosphere, and take away from the whole spectacle of it, because this time it's 48 different countries all coming together for one aim, which is obviously to win the World Cup. But it's a lot of those countries know they're not going to win it. It's just taking part in it. And it's the same for all the fans. I remember this one year, all the Irish fans had all come over. I think it might have been the Euro 2021. And the atmosphere is electric. They knew we're probably not going to get further than a group stage or quarterfinals, whatever it was they got to. But all their fans came out in absolute waves. For them, it was the world. It's like winning the World Cup is being part of it, and that's how it's for a lot of teams, a lot of countries. But if you can't even afford to get there to be part of it, you just think, well, which of the countries are actually going to be represented at the World Cup? And it's not just, I don't mean the teams, but the actual fans. Which fans are truly going to be able to represent their country at the World Cup? Because they're probably going to be priced out of it, which is a real shame. But also there's the risk of not being able to get a visa. For me, it would put me off going, in all honesty. I just think, well, for all the amount of money spent and to not be guaranteed to have a good time, and just knowing that you're getting ripped off in every direction, it kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't be able to fully enjoy it, I don't think, and really have excitement around the World Cup, knowing that, oh my God, this is going to cost X amount of money. So, I mean, for me, I've got two young children. I'm in no position financially to go to the World Cup this time round anyway, so it wouldn't have been a possibility for me, even if the tickets were cheaper. But I do feel sad for average fans who might have made the trip over. My brother went to the France one. Him and his mates just hired a mobile home, and they just drove over to France and had a right laugh. Drove around for a few days, and it cost them next to nothing. I think they had tickets for one of the games, cost them less than £100 each, and it was amazing. And there was loads of fan zones, and they had so many stories when they came back, and it was just a laugh. That's what has always happened throughout history of these tournaments. People just go, do you know what, I'm going, and even if they haven't got a ticket, they just make the way over. But I feel like this World Cup's a bit different, which is a real shame. So it'd be interesting to see how it progresses throughout the tournament. But yeah, I just thought that's probably the first thing I'm going to talk about this podcast. I'll keep it a short one. Really, this was just to test the equipment and make sure it's all working, and obviously to talk about the shocking news that Christian Eriksen had collapsed again today. But hopefully, got loads of things I'm going to talk about over the coming days. The aim is to try and do one of these every single day after the results of all the different games, or leading up to any games that are going to be on that day. And yeah, it'd be really interesting to, if anyone is watching, really interesting to hear your thoughts on anything I've spoke about today, anything else, any predictions for the World Cup. I've got a sticker album, so every day I'm going to open a couple of packets of stickers and see how far I can progress in the album. That's one of the things I'll talk about in one of the later podcasts, the price hikes now with everything, not just the football tickets and going over to see the World Cup, but also everything from the kits, from the stickers, everything now is so much more expensive. So hopefully join me for another installment, another podcast of The Average Fan. Thanks for watching. See you soon.